Spring's here, and so is bass fishing. And in the early spring, there are fewer baits more effective than a crankbait. They come in many sizes and are designed to be fished at various depths. We've tied on the deep diving version of this crawfish crankbait. The bait weighs only 3/16 of an ounce and is pretty wind resistant, so you may want to consider using it on a spinning rod. We're going to try it today on a regular bait casting rod. Our longtime fishing buddy Johnny Zaun's fishing solo today, and he's tied on a crawfish crankbait. He's going to try to catch us a bass. Fishing this deep diving crankbait, just use a fairly quick, straight retrieve. We're going to fish the drop-offs that we've seen here on our chart recorder. John's coming back around the point, and I think he's got a fish to show us.
Joe, I got to take him in and weigh him.
No, folks, that's not a bass. That's a 20-pound muskellunge, and guess what? He hit that crawfish crankbait.
My hand's getting tired. There's the crawdads.
What do you think of that bait now, John?
Hey, you want to see something else? Let me show you something else. Look at this. It broke my net, my landing net.
So you never know exactly what's going to happen when you bring one of these things out. It doesn't work for you in the spring. Think of trying a big spinnerbait. We'll talk about that soon. Save the bait.
Crawdad?
Is that right? Huh? Put him in the water and pick him up.
Gee.
Huh?
Still alive, I look.
Well, I mean, just stick his tail in. So we can get a shot of him here.
Joe, I got to take him in and weigh him.
John, that's a big fish.
Some base must weigh 25. Oh, yeah, I hope you don't got the mic.
Too late now. That's a big fish, John. Grab his tail up there a little bit. Can you get a close-up of that fish, Bill? Can I get a little closer for you?
Yeah, please do.
Huh?
Yeah, by all means do.
That's a crawdad still in his mouth.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good. That's what we're doing a story on. And then we can get a shot of that damn crawdad.
There's the crawdads.
All right, Bill?
Uh-huh. Let me see that crawdad again.
Yeah.
My hand's getting tired, yeah.
What are you thinking of that bait now, John?
Hey, you want to see something else? Let me show you something else. Look at this. It broke my net, my landing net when I picked him up.
Yeah, that's how long did it take you to land it? John, your bait's might get hooked in your jacket.
About 15 minutes.
Tell you what, if you want to run him up and weigh him,
Yeah.
run your boat up here to the shore, and we'll fish that little basin while you run up. So you want to take your boat out. Go weigh him now. Isn't that wonderful? Where's the handle?
It's down at the bottom of the boat here somewhere.
Is that one?
I caught him on that pound test last.
He's got more tigering to it, I believe, and the faces, the teeth show up a lot.
They'll know up here. Poor old bastard. That's all right, he's gonna suffer.
I'm not gonna get him mounted.
You're nice. John, you deserve one. You know, we said all the years we fish up here, that we ought to get a big one once in a while.
I kept thinking you're gonna go any minute now.
Watch your teeth on that. You got pliers?
Yeah, I got this one you bought me.
Okay. All right.
You know where I caught him? You know the basin where Joe and them caught all the fish on the worms?
Yeah.
The little cut, caught him up in the back end of that. Right up on the shoulder.
So, is your motor stuck down up there?
A little bit.
now's the time to go. This group of anglers fishing on the Oregon Inlet-based charter boat CJ4 took 3 big eyes averaging 125 pounds and 14 yellowfins at about 35 pounds. Now, North Carolina boats don't have the market cornered on bluefin, as you can see as this party shows off the largest one reported thus far in Virginia waters. It weighed 95 pounds. If freshwater fishing holds more of your interest, you may want to check out the Suffolk Lakes this weekend. Some of the crowd of folks on the lakes recently have moved to salt water. I took the fish camera along as my longtime friend John Zaun and I fished Western Branch Lake yesterday. Well, the last time we pointed the camera at John, he caught one of the largest muskies ever taken on this lake, a 20-pound beauty that he now has mounted. On this trip, we each tied on a plastic worm and cast to the shoreline, and you guessed it, within a couple of minutes, you had a decent-sized bass on the line. A fish this size usually will give you a few jumps. Since we plan to release all our fish, we bring it to the boat fairly quickly, and he removes the hook. Now, you can see why they're called largemouth bass. I won't even tell you who caught this one. Remember, if you send me a fish picture, I'll send you one of our TV3 hats. Have a nice day.
But that's considerably bigger than the fish that I catch, Michelle, really.
Oh, well, last time I went fishing, I didn't even catch one, so I won't say anything.
Better luck next time. Huh?
Thanks. Thanks, Sal. Well, coming up next, remember the honeymooners to the...
There's something very special about seeing a bass jump. And there's some people that would tell you the only way to catch a lake bass this time of the year would be to use plastic worms or live minnows. Well, that's not necessarily so. John Zaun, engineering manager of WTAR and WLTY radio, first bass fished with me almost 35 years ago. So when he tells me he's found something's working, I usually listen. Plastic worms are great, he says, but in late August, look for largemouth chasing minnows near the points in the main lakes, and the grass beds or overhanging willows in the coves. Now, he's used several topwater baits recently, but mostly the small popper on ultralight spinning tackle, working the bait very fast. Now watch what happens when he makes a perfect cast to this point stump. A hit like this reminds you why you're here. Since we were to release all the fish, he treats it gently, netting, and then it'll be back to the lake for a scrappy but not a lunker bass. A great blue heron reminded us that we were getting into his space. So we moved around Western Branch Lake, checking out the points, and in a few minutes, I found a little bass. Warden Thomas left us after a brief visit to check out our safety equipment and licenses. Other anglers were trying other methods, but this week we had no complaints about our topwater plugs. Well, I hope you have an opportunity very soon to try catching a bass with one of these topwater plugs. Have a nice day.
Obviously, Joe is properly licensed. Otherwise, he would have been taken away right then and there.
You have to be to conduct that kind of fishing expedition.
For a very short period of time each year, and we join them now down on the waterfront. Joe?
Would you believe that fishing the Rappahannock River near this little park in Fredericksburg, Virginia, was just the ticket to get me out of that springtime fishing slump? Each year, just before or after Easter, the herring and shad crowd the waters here to get to the spawning areas. On ultralight tackle, it's exciting fishing. When John Zaun and I made our first early morning cast, each of us had immediate strikes from inquisitive herring. Our friends Joe Pratt and Bill Gray were casting from a boat a few hundred yards downstream, hoping for some shad, but hooking only a few white perch. My news of the fish on nearly every cast upstream had them trailing that boat, slipping into their waders. Everyone caught fish, including those with modern versions of the hoop net, retrieving several percent. Many folks think it's the only way to catch herring and shad. It's probably more efficient. Light tackle is a lot more fun to me. We use small shad darts and gold spoons rigged in tandem. You need a few made up in advance for the 4-pound test line breaks occasionally. The fish this day seem to have no preference, sometimes hitting both, resulting in a double header, like this pair, giving Joe Pratt a hard time trying to get them into the net. Osprey are usually getting their share whenever small fish are thick in the water. Watching the number they flew away with prompted John Zaun to say they must have a freezer hidden away in the woods. Most of our fish were released. Bill Gray, who has a taste for them, slipped a few onto his stringer. This trip was just what I needed. Different waters, good fishing, with good company. What could be better? Have a nice day.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Let's turn now to sports and the football. His name is A.J. Jimerson, Deep Creek, Norfolk State, and who knows?